what the unions say is bad faith, contempt, and lackadaisical attitude on the part of the employer and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission towards the discussion of the very important aspect of their conditions of service. UTAG and TUTAG say they would no longer countenance the gross disrespect and lack of commitment towards their quest for improvement in their conditions of service. They've threatened not to be part of meetings that do not yield benefits, warning that the voices of the university lecturers would be heard soon in the language better understood by the employer and government for that matter. Let's go on to the telephone now and speak to Professor Ransford Jampo, who is the president of the Legon chapter of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG. Professor Jampo, appreciate your time. It's a professor of political science. Thank you so much for joining us here, Professor Jampo. First of all, what exactly happened earlier that led to this walkout?
Hello.
Hello, Prof. Jampo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. I was asking what exactly happened that led to the walkout, the UTAG to TAG walkout from this meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission?
Thank you, Alfred. I initially wanted the national president to speak to some of these things because I'm involved in so many other things. But, well, if you've called me, that's fine. From last year, we started negotiating our conditions of service again. Remember the last time we went on strike, it was because of a component of our salary called a market premium that was supposed to be adjusted. Government said, well, it is unable to adjust it, so it looked for a certain window to do some little increment to our salary, and that was a very transient and very temporary arrangement that was supposed to last for 1 year. The 1 year expired, government didn't tell us anything, and it's been almost 3 years. And so we started talking about general conditions of service from last year, and within the whole of last year, we met for about 3 or 4 times. Every now and then you go, and then they would postpone. And then they talk about things that are so trivial, things that are not really the kinds of things that would ensure the improvement, in the conditions of service of workers. And so we've been at it back and forth, back and forth. The painful thing is that most of our colleagues come from outside Accra. Some are coming from Bolga, some are coming from Wa, some are coming from Tamale, across the country. So they fly in here only for you to be told that, oh, we are talking about, you go and it's like a child's play. And the substantive issue relating to market premium, they are telling us that they are being lackadaisical with us. They don't want to discuss it. Today they want to discuss it. Tomorrow they are not sure. And it's been back and forth. So today, we had to, yesterday we had to do a caucus meeting to strategize. And look, it appears that over a year, it's been back and forth. You go and they are telling you stories. So we will go and table the issues again before them. If they are not ready, we'll just leave. We tabled the issues, and as usual, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission was just trying to just be evasive and lackadaisical. So we asked permission, and we left. And we told them that we would not be honoring meetings whose outcome are inconsequential to our quest for improvement in our conditions of service. And so we are gone. If they call us to meetings, we would weigh who is calling the meetings. If we realize that the person hasn't got a spine, oftentimes meetings that we have held that have yielded benefits are meetings that have been attended by the National Security Minister, the Finance Minister, the Employment Minister, and Education Minister. And so if you go sit at a meeting and you have Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, you know that they are just going to play with you. And so we have walked out of the meeting, and we are not honoring any invitation to meetings unless we are sure of who is calling and unless we are sure that the meeting wouldn't be a child's play. But we have a little time that we've given to them. Very soon, and we are consulting with our members, we'll communicate in the language that is better understood by government. So give us, within a week, you will hear from us about our next line of action.
Within 1 week?
Yes, we'll communicate in a language that is better understood by government. Oftentimes, this government, it's as if anytime you want, they don't like dialogue. If you want to dialogue with them, you have to tie their hands behind their back before you dialogue. And they don't want to sit down and have an open and frank discussion. They don't like it. So always the language that they understand is, well, let them go on strike first and let things become bad before then they will hurriedly rush and say, oh, please come and let's talk. That's the language that they better understood. But we thought that they were gentle people, they were gentlemen and gentle ladies and gentlemen, who would understand some of these things. But it appears that the only thing that you can get them to talk seriously is for you to go on strike. It's unfortunate, but that's the language that they understand. So we walked out and we told them that we cannot be talking and meeting in perpetuity, and we cannot continue to romance a stone. We are very responsible people. We are university lecturers. Some are lecturers, some are senior lecturers, some are associate professors, some are full professors. And we cannot go there for you to be thinking about playing with our intelligence. Who are you to be thinking about our smartness? It can't work. And so it is painful. When a fool tells you you're a fool, it is very painful. I'm saying this figuratively, that when somebody that you have taught is trying to outsmart you, it is very painful. So we walked out, and we proudly did that. We are in talks with our members. Give us a few days. We'll communicate in a language that is better understood by government. Thank you.
Thank you. But you talk about, quickly, before you go, you talk about bad faith, contempt, and lackadaisical attitude. Who has been showing you this?
Well, it's you see, anytime we attended the meeting, we told the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission was that, Engineer, we know that, yes, constitutionally, you are supposed to be doing this, but practically, you don't have the muscle to be able to do that. And so we want to meet all who matter on the table so that we can have frank once and for all discussion and go our way. But you go and he will tell you that, well, I have the mandate to do it. And then you table the issue and he tells you, well, this one, we can't talk about it because I don't have the mandate. And so go and come. Then you go the next day and then he is trivializing issues. And the central issue that has to do with our market premium, he doesn't want to talk about it. And it's been like this, like that for over a year. And that is what we describe as, bad faith and being lackadaisical in the discussion of the central issues that are of utmost importance, to us. But we are not kids. Some of them, we taught them. And so they cannot outsmart us in any way.
So a strike is the option if no meaningful intervention takes place within a week?
We declared our intention to go on strike even before the year ended, but we were also mindful of the fact that we had to give them a lot of, the benefit of the doubt. We've been fighting amongst ourselves. Amongst us, there are the hawks, there are the moderates, and there are people who are very calm. Okay, and oftentimes we allowed the moderates and the calm people to have their way. That look, let us still give them the benefit of the doubt. But it got into the point where even the very calm ones amongst us, like myself, we have decided that it appears that the government is not treating us with respect, and so we'll have to speak in a language that they better understand. And if we tell you that we are going to consult our members, we already know. We already have the mandate of our members. And so it's a mere formality. We'll hold just one meeting and then we'll speak in a language that is better understood by government.
Professor Jampo, appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much. Professor Ransford Jampo is a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Legon, and also the president of the University of Ghana chapter of the university Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, giving some more details of the meeting between the University Teachers Association of Ghana and the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG and TUTAG, with the Fair Wage and Salaries Commission, which ended inconclusively. The associations cited the commission's perceived lack of good faith, contemptuous behavior, and a lackadaisical approach to addressing crucial aspects of their service conditions as the reasons for their premature departure. In fact, they walked out of this meeting earlier today. So that's what Professor Jampo has been speaking about. But let's stay a bit further with issues with related to public sector workers, because the Controller and Accountants General, Kwesi Kwening Bosompim, is saying that he has not breached any law in his bid to contest for parliamentary position whilst serving as a public servant. Now, the Controller and Accountant General, Kwesi Kwening Bosompim, has been under pressure from civil society groups and the minority in Parliament to resign from that position if he intends to contest as the NPP parliamentary candidate for the Achim Swedru constituency. Now, he has filed his nomination just about a couple of weeks ago to contest the parliamentary primaries of the NPP in the Achim Swedru constituency in the Eastern region. In an interview with 3FM's Daniel Opoko, who is a chief correspondent in Labour, the Controller and Accountant General, Kwesi Kwening Bosompim, insisted he will not resign as he had not breached any law. Take a listen.
I urge all stakeholders to embrace this change wholeheartedly. I encourage every government employee on our payroll to register and obtain. Also remember that with effect of March 2024, this year, all employees without Ghana card face the risk of being not paid on the government payroll. Your Excellency, let me emphasize that the linkage between national payroll and NIA database has not come to replace existing payroll controls and protocols. It's just there to enhance all these controls and make it possible for us to have a credible database which is being used by the government of Ghana. This is to ensure that only legitimate persons working in their units are on their payroll voucher application card, as it is not only essential for assessing your salaries and pension, but also crucial for your own empowerment and civic engagement. Also remember that with effect of March 2024, this year, all employees without Ghana card face the risk of being not paid on the government payroll. Your Excellency, let me emphasize that the linkage between national payroll and NIA database has not come to replace existing payroll controls and protocols. It's just there to enhance all these controls and make it possible for us to have a credible database which is being used by the government of Ghana. This is to ensure that only legitimate persons working in their units are on their payroll voucher.
So that's the Controller and Accountant General talking about the suspension of salaries of over 700,000 public sector workers who failed to register with a Ghana card by March 1. Now, according to the Controller, the move is to ensure the cleaning up of the government payroll. Now, he's been talking a bit more about this, and then also the matter of his resignation, which we will get to shortly here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Remember, we're also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Keep your thoughts coming through as we're streaming live on Facebook right now. So that is the latest, with the Controller and Accountant General also responding to those calls for him to resign. Plus, the issues relating to these public sector workers who have not linked their Ghana card to the payroll system. In fact, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was special guest at the launch of this particular intervention or the initiative to have the Ghana card linked to the public payroll, urged public sector workers to comply with the Controller and Accountant General's directive. Take a listen to him.
I think Controller staff want to hear honorarium. Ministry of Finance is here, so I have a petition that was sent to me. I'm informed that the honorarium paid to the Controller staff has not been paid for 3 years. I would like to ask the ministry to reconsider this in light of the very important nature of the work that the Controller staff are doing. And let us install this honorarium for them. Thank you very much for your.
So that's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice President, and they're talking about issues related to some monies owed the workers of the Controller and Accountant General's Department. Let's go on to the telephone now, have a quick conversation on this particular issue. And Mr. Ibrahim Yale is a labor consultant. He's connecting with us. Mr. Yale, thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition. So we've heard for another period the Controller and Accountant General talking about stringent measures to delist public sector workers without Ghana card numbers, freezing their salaries beginning March 5, 2024. Now, this is not the first time this call has been made. Now, why is there this continuous lack of compliance, especially when we're talking about a time when these public sector workers were supposed to be having Ghana card?
Thank you for having me. Greetings to our terrorist listeners. Yeah, the issue of, I think in respect of the ghost names in our payroll, they want to clean and have a very maybe clean payroll so that devoid of any ghost names and that type of thing. I think the issue of ghost names have been there for years. We don't know where the ghosts are. But I think it's the issue of HR system. Now, with a Ghana card, is there to cure a problem that you've been grappling with over the years. So I think that sometimes if you don't put in measures to deal with that or timelines, you will never achieve the objective that you set yourself to achieve. So I see no reason why employees are not, going for their Ghana card. The Ghana card is supposed to address some issues such as identification, and it also help in addressing payroll issues. You've done head count, but the payroll, the ghost name keeps on, lingering in our pay system. So, which means that our measures are not watertight enough, and our HR system is also not working effectively. That is it. Because if you do head count, you have HR system. Every department, has a head, and you have HR other representative or HR manager in every department. Therefore, each worker, you have the database of a worker operating in a particular department. So there should not be something like a ghost name at all. That faceless people can be addressed easily if you have efficient HR system, which is linked to the payroll. And if you are able to do reconciliation between the payroll and the HR system, you'll be able to address those concerns. So for me, the Ghana card is supposed to cure certain problems, But if workers are not willing to comply with, then the rules must work. The employer has the right to formulate policies. That is the law, So if they formulate policies, it is the right of the employer to do that, and the responsibility of the employees to also go by that.
Oh, but you see, Mr. Ali, in basic auditing, we're taught to follow the money, isn't it? I mean, if ghost names are still on our payroll, the ghosts are ghosts. Human beings are receiving the salaries on behalf of the ghosts. If there's a paper trail for these payments, and there's audit that's done every year by the Auditor General, also uncovers a number of these ghost names. We expunge thousands of ghost names from our payroll every year, and every year we find thousands more ghost names on the payroll. This is a cartel. It cannot just be some HR problem, isn't it?
No, the point I'm making is that it's the issue of dishonesty. We are not truthful to ourselves. But what I'm saying is that if you have efficient, who has been doing, is it about garbage in, garbage out? And every employment, if you have a recruit, you recruit. So at what point do the ghosts enter the HR system? And every department has a head. That's the point I'm making. Is every department has a head. So if the head must be responsible for the number of employees that they control, you understand? And each department has number of employees that work for that department. So if you do reconciliation, if every man be able to reconcile number of employees at a particular department, link with the payroll, you'll be able to know whether there's a ghost or not. If, let's say, in December, we had, let's say, X number of employees. In January, if not made the recruitment, no recruitment has been done, no onboarding has been done, and the number goes up to, let's say, X plus 1. So what accounts for the X plus 1? The HR, see, if you have a very efficient HR system, only because HR system must link to payroll. Because before anybody is paid, it must go to the HR system. Unless, of course, that there is a hand somewhere that has been, making some input at the controller and accountant general without recourse to the HR department. Because for me, the whole thing should start from the HR system, the HR department, because you are in charge of what? Recruitment and onboarding. If nobody has been recruited or has been on board for let's say year 2024, from 2023, then the number goes up to maybe X plus 1. Then it means that there's a problem. It means either somebody somewhere is shortchanging us, or is trying to put a name that should not exist. But at the tail end, who draws the money? Which account does the money go? This time we pay through the bank account. So you'll be able to trace that and know where the monies are. That is it. But it's about having an efficient system. Yes, Ghana card is good to at least to be sure that I'm paying Kwesi or I'm paying Kwame. But if your system is porous, people have their day.
And that's what the concern is about the systems and structures. Maybe finally, before I let you go, what has to be done to ensure that people who fail to comply with this directive, in fact, public sector workers, are made to do so as to address this issue of the perennial issue of ghost names once and for all?
For me, if a fish is stinking, start from the head. That's what I said. Every ministry has directors. Has directors. Every ministry have the HR managers and all those type of things. Therefore, for me, we should tackle it from the departmental basis. That you should go back to basics. If your department, how many people do you have? For example, how many people do you have? Let's say housing department or whatever ministry. How many people do you have? You have 10 people. Who are these 10 people per the HR system? Who are they? The account number. How much do you pay them? So you can trace all these things, from various departments. And when you are starting auditing and start from those departments, people should be accountable. If the names, keep on increasing, at what point did it get increased? At what point did we recruit? Was there any recruitment? If there was no recruitment, why should the number go up? That is the point. Why should the numbers go up? Unless, of course, there has been recruitment. If there hasn't been any recruitment, you see, you should be able to also reconcile those who, excuse my language, who are diseased and those who have been terminated. You have, and HR is the responsibility of HR department to have those records. And if those records are there, they must expect it from the system. Maybe you may have those people are dead and gone, or people have left the company or resigned, but their names were still in the system or are still in the system. That can also create ghosts. So you need to ensure that there's efficient system that when somebody exits the company or exits the ministry or the department, the names you get the names out automatically from the payroll. Because the HR needs to inform the controller that this Kwesi or Kwame is no more working with us. That should be it.
Okay. Well, Mr. Yale, I thank you so much for your thoughts on this. As always, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Abraham Yale is a labor consultant with his thoughts on this. Now, away from that, a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyao Tamaklo, has called for the setting up of a commission of inquiry to investigate members of the current administration for corruption and corruption-related offences. This is after a former chair of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kojo Afraijan, described as shameful the spectacle of corruption and also extent of vote buying in Ghanaian politics. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo spoke earlier on Ghana Tonight with me.
Very severe punishment must be given, which we can even lead to the confiscation of properties that have been acquired ill. We have a whole lot of properties being acquired left, right, and nothing is being done. Indeed, whoever takes over this country from next year must set up a commission of inquiry to investigate into anyone who has been in public service, particularly those in government, because a lot of things that they have done is known to the people. And for the buildings that they have put up in what do you call it, Fedwase and all the places you can imagine, it's built by human beings. And they shouldn't know that they are not known. They are known, you follow me.
That's Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo there. Now, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, that's GPRTU, is bent on increasing transport fares up to about 60% this year. This is in response to the commencement of the implementation of the emission levy bill in January 2024. The recently passed emissions levy by Parliament imposes an annual fee of 100 Ghana cedis on all owners of petrol and diesel vehicles starting from January 2024. For more of this, let's just go to the telephone now, and the head of industrial relations at the Ghana Private Transport Union, Alhaji Abasi Moro, is joining us. Alhaji, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Thank you for calling.
Great. Now, we understand that you are concerned about the impact of this emissions levy on you. I mean, your members, GPRTU. Has there been any attempt to engage the transport minister on this matter, these concerns that you have?
No. If we do that, meaning we are going to twist the whole issue. We said something of the 60%, yes. Not because of the eco levy alone. We said later part of last year, we came out and spoke about the high cost of spare parts, lubricant, etc., etc. Whilst we were agitating on that, then there came the budget for this year. And the budget presented, we saw the eco tax in it, and we saw VAT, increment of VAT, including automobile. These are the two things in the budget which prompted us to write to the speaker. Yes, we wrote to the speaker pleading with them to have a second look, because we said the eco tax, we're already paying 10 pesos on a liter on a fuel we buy, which has a name on the fuel brought up as sanitation and petrol sanitation and pollution levy. We've already been paying 10% on a liter of a fuel we buy. Then tweaking it to the eco tax, asking us to pay another 100 Ghana per annum, we felt it is not right. Secondly, when we spoke about the increment on the spare parts, etc., the increment came as a result of some of the taxes which has been raised on those items. So if they are to increase VAT on certain issues or certain items, we're also pleading that they should exclude the automobile. Else, we are going to rise at a situation where we cannot be in a position to move forward as we wanted to. So we wrote these two things, identify in the budget to the Speaker, pleading that they should have a second look at it. We did indicate in the letter that if nothing could be done, then of course we have no choice than to package ourselves well and come up with an upward adjustment in lorry fares, of which would not be less than 60%. This is the situation. We wrote and we haven't heard anything. Not long then, Parliament went on their holidays. I believe they haven't resumed. Our leadership says we should give them some time. When they resume, definitely we shall hear from them. Or if we do not hear anything from them, then of course we go to the round table, package ourselves, and come out with whatever we wanted to come out with. So this is the situation. We did not say because of the eco tax we are going to increase oil fares up to 60%. No.
So all of this is subject to some engagements over the period.
What engagement? We're waiting to the Speaker.
Okay.
And what engagement again, Alfred, are you asking for?
Well, in the end, we've seen instances in the past where you have tried to increase fares by yourself, and then the transport ministry comes in for some sort of engagement. You had indicated earlier that you don't need a transport. I'm coming. You don't need a transport minister's approval for you to increase transport fares. But we do know the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council would also have a say or some engagement with you, whether there's going to be fare increases or not. That's why I'm asking if after writing to the Speaker.
Road Transport Coordinating Council, we are not member of it. And if they are operating, they should talk to their members. Mr. Alfred, we've been very lenient by most of the time sitting with the Transport Ministry. Initially, they were subsidizing on the fuel. So yes, of course, they have a say. For years back, they don't subsidize. And we have been very lenient by dialoguing with them on that. So I believe with your age, you might experience the control price era. Some of us, we experience the control price era.
Right.
Today, are we in that era? If the answer is no, then I don't think that qualifies us to do what we want to do. As I speak to you now, BVL, there is a law in the country that if your road receipt paper or your insurance document is expired, the police has to arrest you, prosecute you to the law court, then the punishment which you deserve shall come from the law court. Today, if your vehicle road license certificate expire and you wait for some time, the DVL will make sure you pay for the period you were not using your vehicle, and they will ask you to pay for a penalty 2 times a month before they will give you the document. Is that right? Is that law? Are we no more working with the laws of the land? And who is asking them to stop what they are doing? So these are some of the things.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. And yes,
Alfred, it's been a long time. How did you spend that one?
I spent it Well, I hope you don't increase transport fares. That would not also be good for me. Because if you want me to...
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's... Alhaji Abbas Imaro is the head of industrial relations of Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU there. And, well, it's a story we've been following quite closely since we began the conversation on Hot Edition earlier today. The Comptroller and Accountant General, that's Kwesi Bosompim, is saying he has not breached any law in his bid to contest for the parliamentary position whilst serving as a public servant. Now, the Comptroller and Accountant General, Kwesi Bosompim, has been under pressure from civil society groups to resign for some time now. This was after he filed his nomination to contest the parliamentary primaries of the New Patriotic Party in the Achim-Swedru constituency in the Eastern region. My colleague Daniel Opoko spoke to him about the insistence on some of these CSOs to have him step aside. He says he's not going to resign.
Sorry, I haven't seen any report. If you have seen any report, maybe you can let me know it. And has it been signed by the committee? As I speak, my lawyers have not been told of any report which has been agreed on by the committee. So if it's a leaked report, leaked by who? Maybe it's a propaganda.
We'll get that a bit more on that here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Now, the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament and outgoing Bekwai Member of Parliament has endorsed the embattled retired police chief facing a parliamentary inquiry into a leaked tape seeking to oust the Member of Parliament, that's George Ekufo, that's the Inspector General of Police, George Ekufo Dampare. Now, COP Alex Mensah is accused of plotting to have the IGP removed from office with a keen interest in his position. Former Northern Regional Chair of the MPP, Daniel Bugri-Nabo, had the police chiefs secretly recorded. Now, take a listen to COP Alex Mensah reacting to a leaked draft report of the parliamentary committee probing the leaked audio tape.
The report should be submitted by the committee to the main parliament. So who leaked the report? How did the person get the report? Maybe you need to call the chairman of the committee and find out from him whether or not they've completed the investigations and they've come out with a report. He will be the best person to answer this. For me, I'm in my constituency doing my campaign, so I don't have any idea about any report. Maybe the person who leaked the report, what does he want to achieve? Does he want to disturb my campaign? You know, as for politics, these things can go on at any time. It's not everything that comes in the media. It's the truth. Maybe somebody is behind it. How can you release a report which has not been signed? As I said, the best person to answer these questions is the chairman of the committee. Whether or not they've come out with a report, whether or not they presented the report to the speaker, who tasked them to do these investigations. Declared the IGP in what? Was the committee investigating the IGP or they were investigating the audio tape? He has been behind all these things. He is the one doing that. Yes.
The IGP, George Ekufo Dampare, is the one behind this leaked report to taint your image and also to destabilize your political campaign. Is that a play?
Exactly.
Are you worried that this is likely to affect your chances?
It will never affect my chances. My people know me. They know what I can do and what I cannot do. I didn't do anything wrong. I have not done anything wrong.
As COP Alex Mensah retired. Now, we can now hear the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Uson, why he's endorsing COP Alex Mensah retired to succeed him in Parliament.
Sorry, I haven't seen any report. If you have seen any report, maybe...
I don't know if you can recall, but just recently the IGP set a trap for him by making Bugri-Nabo call and record their conversation. When a committee was set up at Parliament and he came to sit, a member of the committee, who is a former policeman and was the IGP secretary, who went to stand as an NDC candidate when he left the service, asked the COP why he hasn't left the police service but is contesting as an NPP candidate. Then the COP asked him Would the NDC have let you contest if you weren't an NDC member? Then the man went silent after COP's question. Some committee members called after the sitting to tell me how courageous and truthful he appeared on TV made the people who brought the case withdraw it. They said he spoke courageously, and there are other evidences that came up after the sitting that proved he was right.
That's Joseph also there. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, also on W93.5 in and beyond. Right after this quick break, Michael Obodo is standing by with the latest in the world of business here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Stay with us.
If you dare to have your thoughts, if you're unafraid of being expressive, do you long for a space where your mind can roam free? Tune in every Thursday from 9 p.m. on 3FM 92.7, Uncensored with Stephanie Benson, where the night is as limitless as your imagination.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, financial analyst urges caution amid recent drop in headline inflation to 23.2%, emphasizing need for sustained efforts to maintain a downward trend. This and many more coming up shortly. Please stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. Straight into our top story now. Consumer price inflation has declined for the fifth consecutive time to end the year 2023 at 23.2% from 26.4% recorded in November same year. As a result, government ended the year with an inflation figure below its revised target of 31.3% captured in the 2024 national budget presented to Parliament in November last year.
Rate to 23.2% from the 26.4% recorded in November 2023.
Rate of inflation for the month of December 2023 stood at 23.2%. This rate simply indicates that prices of goods and services in the country continue to go up, and specifically between the month of December 2022 and December 2023, general price levels of goods and services went up by 23.2%.
The significant decline in inflation rate indicates that government achieved a rate lower than its revised target of 31.3%, which was revealed during the 2024 budget presentation in Parliament. According to government statistician Professor Kobna Enim, imported non-food inflation was the main driver of the inflation rate.
We identified 107 items that saw price changes in the month of December 2023. These 107 items signifies about 55.8% of the 307 items that we have in the basket. This was dominated by non-food that is imported, taking about 2/5 of the items that saw a year-on-year price change in the month of December 2023. This was followed by food that is local, taking about a quarter of the 179 items, specifically 26.8%.
Overall, in December 2023, general price level was 23.3% higher than in December 2022, although the decline in inflation does not indicate a decline in price levels.
So that was a report on inflation ending the year 2023 at 23.2% from 26.4% recorded in November. Meanwhile, a partner at Deloitte Ghana, Yaulate, has cautioned government not to be excited at the decline in inflation level. He argues that the average inflation for the year 2023 is higher than 40% and called for continuous efforts at keeping the downward trend.
The overall year inflation, as in the whole 2023 year inflation, is about 40%. That's quite significant. So end of year inflation reporting now at 23.4% or 23.2% should not get us too excited. The yearly average is about 40%. That is quite alarming. But that notwithstanding, it's still below the international monetary overall year inflation, about 42%. So yes, there has been some progress made, but inflation over a year, an annual average inflation about 40% is still high. And it's something that we should not be too excited about. What we need to do is to consistently and progressively work towards reducing the inflation rate. And that's what our policy measures and policy initiatives are focusing.
So that was Yaulate. He is a partner at Deloitte Ghana. Away from that, economist Professor Lord Mensah says Ghana is on track to secure the second tranche of the IMF bailout funds by the month's end, having completed negotiations with its external creditors. The country yesterday finalized negotiations with its bilateral creditors in Paris, obtaining a draft term sheet to restructure its $5.4 billion bilateral debts. In an interview with We Business, Professor Mensah highlighted that overcoming this significant obstacle indicates Ghana's potential reception of some $600 million from the IMF in the near future.
Once we have this meeting, I think by the end of January, we should be able to see some light, coming up, because obviously the meeting is to decide on the terms. And then from reading from the Reuters website, what I've learned is that the cut-off date for the restructuring has also been a problem in contention, because they had global DSSI, kind of package, which Ghana did not participate. And if we did not participate, then are we going to have our debt restructuring being taken on from that particular year, which was 2020? But then looking at things, I would say that the investor community or the creditor will not be ready to go back all the way to 2020. But then look at the possibility of getting the date that we suspended our debt as part of the restructuring.
So that was Professor Lord Mensah. He is an economist, bringing an end to the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. I am Michael Obudu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports, and Billy is on standby.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. We're going to start off from the Black Stars because they have arrived in Abidjan ahead of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast. The 1982 champions will be hoping to end their 42-year wait for a title in Ivory Coast. Now, they've won the title 4 times, and they are looking for their 5th title in history. Now, still on the Black Stars, former goalkeeper Fatau Dauda believes that the team can end the 42-year trophy drought with the right attitude.
Yes, they have the potential. But when I was with the national team, especially 2015, what kept us in the tournament till we went to the final is attitude, character, self-belief, and unity. That kept us in the game and even took us to the final. I'm not in the Blaster now. I don't know the situation now. You know, apart from tactically, technically, physically and other things, this thing that I mentioned plays parts when it comes to group or national team. I don't know. If this thing is not in the national team now, what I mentioned, they should add it. Trust me. Things will be better.
That was Fatah Dawda, a former goalkeeper for the Black Stars. Still on the local scene, Abdulaziz Issa scored a brace for Dreams FC as they defeated Bofokwa Tano by 3-1. Now, current Ghana Premier League holders Mediama also defeated Great Olympics by 1-0. Let's move abroad where West Ham midfielder Lucas Paquetá could be sidelined for at least 2 months with a calf injury. The Brazilian suffered a recurrence of the issue in Sunday's FA Cup draw with Bristol City, having initially been injured against Arsenal at the end of December. Now, still on English football, Liverpool are set to face Fulham in the first leg of the semis in the EFL Cup tonight at 8 p.m. Assistant coach Pep Linders provided an update on the fitness levels of some players, including Virgil van Dijk.
So he looks good to go. Dom is progressing well on the pitch, running, so he's not far away. Robbo is on the 3rd month mark, so he has another scan. If that goes well, then we can really decide when to have more contact. What's the tricky thing with this injury? Costas is going quicker as expected, so they both, Robbo and Costas, will be back probably in the end of this month.
That was Pep Linders, an assistant manager for Liverpool. Before I do go in boxing, UK-based Ghanaian boxer Freezy McBones has chosen to withdraw from the Ghana Boxing Federation team seeking slots in the Olympic Games in Paris. Now, Sejima, as he is originally called, competed for Ghana in Dakar, Senegal last year with hopes of securing a place at the 2024 Olympics, but lost to homeboy Seydou Konate in the preliminary stages. Now, on your screen, of course, is the statement from Sejima regards to that. He's saying that I would like to express my gratitude to all members of the Ghana national boxing team for giving me the opportunity to represent my country. However, I will no longer be competing in the qualifiers for the Olympic Games in 2024. That brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bilashen, and up next is entertainment with Akofa.
Just gone by was of sports news by Bill Lishen. Thank you for staying with us here on Hot Edition. It's now time for the entertainment news segment powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. We begin with Ghanaian chef Failatu Abdul Razak, who has successfully completed a 227-hour cookathon attempt after 10 days in the kitchen. The Ghanaian chef undertook this Guinness World Record attempt to set a new record. Throughout the marathon cooking session, Failatu showcased exceptional skills preparing a diverse array of dishes amid a rich display of culture by the people of the northern region. The achievement was praised by supporters at the venue as the stopwatch hits the 227th hour today, Wednesday, January 10, 2024. Now, on January 1, 2024, Chef Failatu Abdul Razak started the attempt on New Year's Day to break the current longest cooking marathon record. She intended to beat the official 119-hour record set by Alan Fisher. Days before her showdown, Ugandan chef Dorcas Mirembe, popularly known as Mama D, cooked for 144 hours and is awaiting Guinness World Records validation. Meanwhile, the Guinness World Record has acknowledged Filer's marathon, adding that, quote, "We look forward to reviewing her evidence." And for Mustafa Mohammed in Tamale, he may not have the financial means to support Chef Filer the way he wants to. The visual artist has decided to use his talent in a unique way to raise funds and support this history in the making.
Executive Chef Faila Razak has received a lot of love and support from her community and individuals in various ways since she started the attempt to break the Guinness World Record for the longest cooking marathon. Her cookathon has also offered a platform for other art forms to be displayed. While others have supported in cash and kind, visual artist Mustafa Muhammad has decided to support her in a unique way. He has spent hours on an art masterpiece that he hopes to sell and support Chef Faila.
So as we are here and then by God's grace, this big thing has come here. If we don't have anything to support, we can support it with our talent. So first of all, we did paintings of Faila, and then now we are doing an artwork which has linked to the program, cooking of food. And if you look at this artwork, it talks a lot. Yeah, it's a proverb. In our Akan language, they say "Ketramaniaye." It means that the tongue never satisfies. If you see this man, he wish he could eat all the food. You know, the stomach is full, but the tongue is still demanding. It means that we don't cook to satisfy the tongue. We cook to satisfy the stomach.
Mustafa is excited about how the cooking marathon has given the opportunity for other art forms to thrive. However, he has called for a conscious effort to project our arts more.
If you see this cooking program, you can see that the art is adding color to it. So what I will talk about the other art forms is that we need to encourage those at those fields so that them too can train others, so that the other talents will not fade away. Especially if you take the traditional dance like this. Because of foreign culture, some people don't allow their children to learn that one. And you know, if we keep on doing that, and in some small time we will realize that the dance is no more there. Because those who know how to dance it real didn't teach others. It's not that maybe they didn't teach, but others didn't want to learn. So it should fade away.
And finally, before I go, Oprah Winfrey has put all rumors of a feud with Taraji P. Henson to rest once and for all. During the 81st Golden Globe Awards over the weekend, Winfrey, 69, chatted with Entertainment Tonight about her involvement as a producer on The Color Purple, clarifying that she stepped in to support the cast throughout the film's rollout. Henson and fellow The Color Purple actress Danielle Brooks alleged facing mistreatment and accused production of subpar standards. Now here's ET correspondent Kevin Fraser with Oprah.
And I would just like to say about this whole Taraji, you know, I heard I was trending yesterday because people are saying that I was not supporting Taraji. Taraji will tell you herself that I've been the greatest champion of this film, championing not only the behind-the-scenes production, but also everything that everybody needed. So whenever I heard that there was something that people needed, I'm not in charge of the budget because that's Warner Brothers. You know, that's the way the studio system works. And we as producers, everybody gets their salary. That's negotiated by your team. And so whenever I heard there was an issue or there was a problem with the cars or there was a problem with the food, I would step in and do whatever I could to make it right. And I believe that she would even vouch for that and say that it's true.
I think she would vouch for that. I can vouch for that because I've seen you and your work and behind the scenes, how you step in and you have put your own money up.
I'm all for everybody being the greatest and rising to meet the rising of their own life. And so, I mean, all this stuff about there was something online about us being separated at the top of the Empire State Building. On that particular day, we were so cold. So I don't know what kind of body language people were talking about. I was like just trying to stay warm, and that was the fourth thing we had done. And so there's no validity to there being a thing between Taraji and I.
There's no validity there, says Oprah. Well, thank you for your time. That will be all the entertainment news here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Thanks for tuning in. At 3FM Drive continues.